Come see us doing live shows. We'll be in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only jimmydore.com. Here's what they say the problem with this Joe Biden pardoning his own kid. It says the pardon power. Hey, by the way, can you type this into Google, see where this came from? The pardon power may be abused in at least 4 distinct ways. By placing the president above the law. What? Of course the president's above the law. That's why no president's ever gone to jail, except for Trump. They tried to.
We haven't had a legal war since World War II. We haven't had a war.
That's right. We haven't had a war.
How is that possible?
By violating individual liberties protected by the Bill of Rights and preventing courts from enforcing orders to protect those rights. Also, by violating generally applicable federal crime statutes, including by using pardons to obstruct justice or as a bribe, and by licensing lawbreaking on the president's behalf, which is exactly what this is.
From Protect Democracy.
That's from Protect Democracy. What is Protect Democracy?
So they're a nonprofit organization based in the United States, a nonpartisan group.
I guess if they caught you taking a bribe to give a pardon, of course, we all know people get bribed all the time to give pardons. They just do it in ways that they can't trace it.
Or blackmailed, as in the case of Mark Rich.
Or blackmailed. So here's what Kevin Dalton says. He says Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter because he was unfairly prosecuted. That's what Joe Biden said. Joe Biden said he was unfairly prosecuted.
Trump was in 2017 to make it unfair?
Right. He's saying that the only reason that they prosecuted Hunter was because it was political. And I'm not kidding. Even though Joe Biden's in charge of the Justice Department as this happens. Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter because he was, quote, unfairly prosecuted for tax evasion and a gun charge in 2017 and 2018. So then why does the pardon go all the way back to 2014? Did you know that, Kurt?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. Hunter Biden's pardon seems to needlessly extend from 2014 to 2024. He gets a 10-year window of criminality.
And well through 2030. He's pardoned ahead of time.
So that's well before and after his unfairly prosecuted cases.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. Hunter started working for Burisma in 2014, which is his job on the energy board in Ukraine, which we all know was to funnel money back to himself and his father and his uncle. We all know this now.
Jimmy, people sit on energy boards. That's a real rebuttal that I heard on MSNBC. People sit on energy boards. Okay.
So if it was just for his gun charge, and if it was just for the tax evasion, why? Which that was in 2017 and 2018. Why does it all go back to 2014? Well, here's why. So why did Joe Biden pardon Hunter all the way back to 2014? Well, in April of 2014, Hunter Biden received his first payment from Burisma Energy to represent them. They also purchased a car for him. May 2014, Hunter Biden and Devin Archer, remember Devin Archer did that interview with Tucker Carlson, and he spilled the beans and said, yeah, it's all about influence. Then if Devin Archer began receiving $1 million a year to work on the board and broker a deal in Ukraine. Later that year, Hunter Biden began receiving millions more to his Rosemont Seneca account. In 2014, Joe Biden attended a dinner, Devin Archer talked about this, with the people who sent these payments into D.C. Multiple members of the Biden family received these payments. Some were from other members of the family. This pardon wasn't just for Hunter. This pardon was an attempt to end all investigations into the Biden crime family. Will Donald Trump finally bring justice to this corrupt family? The answer is no, that's not going to happen. But here I want to talk. What are they talking about? The Biden crime family. Well, Kanoka the Great said this is a represent. So do you remember this? I remember this. We reported this when there was a congressional committee that was looking into the Biden crime family. And of course, it got poo-pooed and that almost got zero coverage. So, but So here is Representative James Comer. He's going to highlight Hunter Biden laundering millions of dollars through 20 shell companies while operating as an unregistered foreign agent, and 6 banks filing over 170 suspicious activity reports with the Treasury, accusing him of money laundering and human trafficking.
Who's this guy think he is? Israel?
Right. And then Representative Jim Jordan points out that the Justice Department's prosecutors acknowledged. And so remember when they made that deal with Hunter? And the judge goes, hey, whoa.
Yeah.
This deal is, have you ever made a deal like this in the history of the Justice Department? And they had to go, no, we've never made a deal like this. So that's when the judge canceled the deal.
Right.
So that's when the new plan went into effect. The new plan was, okay, we'll have Hunter plead guilty, and then we'll delay his sentencing, and then before he actually goes to jail, his father will pardon him.
Right.
This is the stuff they accused Donald Trump of doing.
Wait, that's a conspiracy theory. He's not going to pardon him, Jimmy. I know it literally just happened in reality, but I choose to believe. You tell on yourself.
Am I telling on myself, Kurt? So here, let's listen to it.
The judge did the right thing. Today was a victory for justice in America.
So this is when the judge threw out the plea deal he had with the Justice Department because it was rigged in Hunter's favor, and there was never a deal like that in the history of the world.
The judge did the right thing. Today was a victory for justice in America. If anyone was watching the whistleblower hearing that we had, the oversight with the 2 credible whistleblowers, I mean, they laid out perfectly a series of crimes that the president's son had committed. It's not just about tax evasion, and the tax evasion that they're getting him on was just for 2 years for a W-2. It didn't even include all the shell company income that they've had that no one knows what the reasoning is behind the millions of dollars they've received from foreign nationals. It didn't include the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which is one of the things that we said back in January. Jim Jordan and I said,
I mean, it's not disputed they got millions of dollars from foreign nationals from other countries, and he wasn't registered as under the FARA Act, which is Foreign Agent Registration Act. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
But
the clear law that the president's son had committed. You also have the money laundering. Remember, 6 banks filed reports with the Treasury Department that they suspected this family was involved in laundering money from state-owned entities. State-owned entities are foreign countries. So the list goes on and on and on. It's obvious to anyone who has any knowledge of the law that the president's son's committed a host of crimes, and all roads lead to Joe Biden. That's the other thing. And that was, I think, one of the most interesting things from the testimony that Jason Smith got in the transcribed interview and we heard in the hearing was they wanted to interview Biden family members, and they felt pretty strongly that this was directly linked to Joe Biden. And on Monday.
So Joe Biden is really pardoning himself.
Yeah.
So he's pardoning Hunter, but there's also a secondary pardon because if anybody investigated what he just talked about, the millions of dollars of 20 shell companies, the money they got from Ukraine, China, every place else, they would lead back to Joe Biden. And so if he gives them a pardon starting in 2014, which is when he started working for Burisma and his no-show job on an energy board, and then remember, Joe Biden got them to fire. There was a prosecutor in Ukraine that was investigating Burisma. Joe Biden got them to fire that prosecutor.
Withheld billions from them.
He withheld at least $1 billion from the country. And the exchange was, we'll give you this money, but you have to fire this prosecutor. And the front story, the cover story was, oh, the prosecutor's corrupt. No, the prosecutor was investigating Hunter and the company he worked for.
Yeah.
the level of corruption you can't even imagine.
That's, by the way, Trump was impeached for holding up funds to Ukraine.
That's right.
To look into Biden holding up funds to Ukraine.
That's right.
Trump's impeachment, I mean, talk about a bullshit impeachment.
Here we go.
Your committee will take a sworn deposition from Devin Archer, the former business partner of Hunter Biden, and we expect him to testify that on 24 occasions, he can recall Joe Biden being used by Hunter to call into meetings with foreign business deals with the foreign business partners, the same Joe Biden that swore that he never once talked to his son about his foreign business dealings. Congressman Coleman?
Yes, there's a lot of speculation that that's what he's going to say. But remember, one thing Jason Smith pointed out, these lawyers have intimidated many of the witnesses that we've tried to bring forward for depositions and transcribed interviews. And they've told them things like, you're only going to implicate yourself. We're not going to get in trouble. Hopefully the witnesses, like Devin Archer and the others who we're going to be bringing before the committee this summer, hopefully they saw what happened in that court today. And that these lawyers aren't going to continue to get away with the shenanigans that they tried to pull yesterday when they lied and said they were part of Ways and Means staff to get something removed. Those days are over, and we're in control of this thing. And I believe if these witnesses will come forward and tell the truth, I think the American people are going to be in for a big eye opener.
Well, Devin Archer did get intimidated because he told Tucker Carlson one thing, and then when he testified, said another. But here we go.
Respect to Joe Biden.
Now, Congressman Jordan, your investigation in the Judiciary Committee is running in tandem with Congressman Comer's investigation into the Biden family businesses, and that is the weaponization and how the FBI has been politicized, weaponized, the DOJ has been politicized, weaponized. They didn't even want to hear from the whistleblowers, and they're willing to make that sweetheart deal. I don't think that's a deal that anybody else in America would be able to get. Does this now add to the long list of special treatment the Bidens have gotten?
Well, yeah, and the judge asked the fundamental question. She asked the prosecutors, she asked the folks from DOJ, has this kind of deal ever been put together before? Is this unprecedented? She asked, has it ever happened before? And the prosecutor's answer was, no, Your Honor. No. So it hasn't. He responded back, this is complete. This is why what Chairman Comer said, this is truly a win for equal application of the law, which is a hallmark of this great country, the greatest country ever. That's what we're supposed to focus on. And that was the motivation of Gary Shapley and Mr. Ziegler. They came forward because they saw unequal application of the law. That's why we want to talk to these folks, get all the facts, and then move forward from there.
Hey, you know what? They didn't prosecute the former president, vice president, for approving of torture, which is a crime. So why would they do anything about this?
So Clint Russell says it's not about prostitutes. It's not about being his son. It's not about smoking crack. It's not about gun charges or taxes. It's about Joe Biden using Hunter Biden as the CIA's bagman in Ukraine for every corrupt activity you can imagine. That's why he was pardoned. I'm sure that had a lot to do with it, too.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way you're that bad of a drug addict unless you were forced to do some horrible, horrible shit for the family.
Here's how Biden economics works. Bidenomics, you pay your taxes. I send it to Ukraine. They send it back to Hunter. Hunter gives it to me.
Didn't he refinance his home like 4 or 5 times? Some crazy amount? He has like 4 mortgages. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do not remember that, no.
It's a bizarre thing with his house. Like he really does have a crime, like an Enron going on.
And let's remember, Joe Biden it told you 40 years ago he's a whore.
I'm not sure you should assume I'm not corrupt, but you have to go to those people who have money, and they always want something. You run the risk of deciding whether or not you're going to prostitute yourself to give the answer you know they want to hear in order to get funded to run for that office. I went to the big guys for the money. I was ready to prostitute myself in the manner in which I talked about it. But what happened was they said, come back when you're 40, son.
Well, guess what? He's over 40, and he went back.
Go steal some speeches, son.
Yeah.
Come back when you stole a good speech.
Yeah.
Ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
And what else? What else you think was on that Hunter Biden laptop?
Underage girl. What can you tell us about that?
This is not just any underage girl. This is a family member. And there were several figures that we have seen on this hard drive who have questionable ages, but none of them could be verified as far as who they are, except this one. And that's Natalie Biden. She is the niece of Hunter Biden. And the pictures.
Did you know this, Kurt?
Yeah.
You know that
the family is a dark, evil family. Okay. Yeah, I know. Right? I don't want to get you in trouble with whatever, but yeah, that's all real. It's not conspiracy. That's what was on his fucking laptop. Most people think the laptop wasn't even real.
So there was
Most people go, you think that's real?
It's been confirmed it was real. So there was photographs of his 14-year-old niece, his niece.
Yeah. Well, he went after his brother's wife.
And he was actually having sex with that 14-year-old's mother, which was his brother's wife.
Yeah. They like to keep it in the family. Showers, nieces, all of it.
What? Yeah, watch this. So
depict her in ways that are very questionable enough that we here at OAN submitted a request to the Newcastle County Police Department in Delaware, and we asked if they had received any notes of concern about the images that were found on these hard drives, on this laptop, concerning Natalie Biden, who was 14 years old at the time. I cannot go into too much detail as to what the pictures actually depict, but they're enough that we know for sure she was 14 years old at the time because there's date stamps on these pictures. And this is around the time that Hunter Biden was spending time around not only Natalie, but her mom, who he was carrying on a romantic affair with at the time. This is the wife of the dead brother, Beau. Very uncomfortable pictures, Kara. So we had...
Yeah, Beau, by the way, was the good son. That guy, he busted the worst pedophile in American history out of Philadelphia. He prosecuted him, and he prosecuted a DuPont for essay on his own children. And then the judge just let the guy said that DuPont wouldn't do well in prison, so the judge let him go. And then he was dead not long after that. He didn't go into politics like his dad wanted. He became a prosecutor that protected kids, and apparently he did really good work. The good son, and
then he was dead.
So then he's dead. It's not from Iraq, that like Joe Biden lies and says. He got a sudden brain tumor out of nowhere. I mean, I guess that's just chance, right? And then next thing you know, the dark son is banging his wife and doing God knows what with his knees. Fucking gross. Beau Biden probably was a good guy from everything I can find.
Yeah.
He was sincerely trying to put a stop to some bad stuff that it looks like, I think the Biden family is directly involved in, especially with the Ukraine connections, which, as you recall, that was the world's foremost place to traffic.
For human trafficking.
Yeah, was Ukraine. I mean, it's in movies. It's a cliche. It's a fucking cliche that the Ukrainian war brides and what. I mean, you think that could be anything good having Hunter Biden?
So now that's all can never be investigated or prosecuted because of this pardon. Just so you know. Hey, I don't need to tell you that our current state of healthcare system is awful. Despite record spending, Americans experience worse health outcomes than our peers globally. Big pharma, big medicine, and lobbyists that have made their way into places they shouldn't be often lead to the suppression of products like the Juvent Micro Impact platform, which I use and I've talked about on this show. This platform will transform the way you think about and approach overall health. Your bones and cells require regular, healthy micro impacts to function at their best. Subtle, low-level impacts like the kind you'd get from walking in leather sandals or thin-soled shoes, for example, classic Converse or traditional leather dress shoes, and yet most of us are walking around in running shoes day to day. And while running shoes are great for protecting your joints from the high impacts of running, by wearing them too often, you could actually be shielding your body from something that is vital for your health, micro impacts. Imagine being able to move without pain or discomfort, whether you're recovering from an injury or trying to stay active as you age. If you're serious about strengthening your bones, improving mobility, and reducing pain, this device is a game changer. You only stand on it for 20 minutes a day. I do that. The Juvent Micro Impact platform has the ability to improve your daily life as well as adding years to your vertical lifespan. Plus, your entire family can use it. If you have loved ones struggling or you're dealing with health issues yourself, you need to check on Juvent. With money-back guarantee, a 10-year limited warranty, and financing options available, there's no risk in trying it for yourself. Experience the difference firsthand. Visit Juvent, that's Juvent, Juvent.com/Dore, that's D-O-R-E, and use code DORE, D-O-R-E, for an exclusive $500 off. That's Juvent.com/Dore, and code DORE at checkout for $500 off. Start your journey toward better health and longer, more active life today. Come see us doing live shows. We'll be in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only jimmydore.com.